Great. Well, unashamedly, I'm going to put up a quiz which is going to be sort of agriculturally based and about where it is in New Zealand economy. No surprise from me. But just kicking off, just talk a wee bit about head counts in New Zealand. And I use 1990 as a base because I love 1990 as an economist as a base, because by then all the subsidies and support we had dissipated and we're a market economy, and what we've done since then has all been driven how we've performed in world markets and as an economy. So how much has our population increased since 1990? Most people wouldn't pick 10%, but is it 15, 30, 40%? Anybody going to take 15%? No. 30%? Yep. 40% is? Few there, 3. 50%? Couple? Okay, the answer is 40%. The population clock from the Stats New Zealand website last night gave the population at 4.801 million. Just that population growth, just comparing us with Australia, last year we grew 2.1%. Do people think Australia grew about the same rate, or more or less? If you think more, put your hand up. Less, yeah, 1.4%. So on that sort of state, we're sort of rocketing along. So this has got a huge impact on our economy and where we're going, and it's sort of the forefront of a lot of our politics too at the moment. But if we look in our pastoral land area, how much has that changed since 1990 for our grazing animals? Have we increased it 15%, 10%, or no change, or have we sort of reduced our grazing area? Okay, what are you going to pick, guys? Who's going to pick 10% down? Okay, 25, 30%. The answer is 24% down. What we've given up. That's up there, the top in blue. In fact, our sheep and beef land has dropped by about a third, 34%, and they've nicked 1 million hectares. The dairy's nicked 1 million hectares of the best sheep and beef grazing land for dairy. But the other bit in between is really closing up a lot of the high country to the dock estate, reversion post-subsidies, a lot of urban encroachment, viticulture coming out on some of the other country, on other land, horticulture expansion, and just other land uses. So we can nail that pretty well. That's Stats New Zealand data. But it is a fundamental change that nobody sort of realises what's been going on in the intensity and changes in our farming. Since 1990, our sheep flock has declined 52%. How much has our lamb production declined? 52%, 40%, 20% or less? 20%. The answer is we've only dropped 6%. So we've had huge productivity gains in genetics, farm management systems, and that's been done with giving up 1 million hectares of the flats of the best stuff to dairy. So that's a huge technical shift that's been going on out there in terms of national productivity. Okay, keeping the pace up. Our dairy herd has increased 92% with all this 1 million hectares of extra land. How much has our dairy production increased? 50%, 80%, or 100% or more? 100%. Yeah, to 175%. So what we've got is we've got much more production per cow than we had in 1990. Part of that is genetic gain. We have about 5 bulls making 5 million cows through artificial insemination, and that gives a big genetic step up, and that's a lot of management stuff, and probably a bit of palm kernel chucked in there earlier on before the price went down. So huge sort of, again, productivity changes even despite the productivity growth. Under subsidies, and we went up to 70 million sheep, we managed to drop all the sheep production horrifically. Dairy's increased itself and kept production growing, productivity going. Technical advances have been pretty good in the ag sector. So there we are, 92% more cattle and 52% less sheep. And beef cattle are down too. There's standing room. So with all this population growth and land use change, where were carrots and Thornton New World sourced from last week? Pukekawi, Awakuni. Wrong, Southland, Invercargill. And that is it's where I'm working in the ag sector. We're starting to see things like carrot production in Southland starting to displace sheep. So this is population. Pukeko is providing Auckland, Tauranga up there more and more. So the land use patterns of the population growth knocked right down through the whole country. So a whole lot of things going on there. Okay, and just to wrap up, in 1991 agricultural export receipts were 57% of merchandise exports. In 2016 agricultural export receipts were 30% of exports, gone down because our economy's changed, or 40% or 50% of exports receipts. 60%, it's gone up. So we're more dependent for merchandise trade on the primary sector. And if you add in other things, it's even greater on the primary side. Okay, thank you. Put your money in the box.
So I'm Roger Blakely. So I'm talking about the forum last Tuesday, which we had 200 plus people there dreaming visions for Wellington. First of all, stand up who was there, because we had a huge number of club members, yeah. And there was a real buzz in the room. Yeah. For you, this is a bit of a skim over likely. This is the forum team. Roger, who took over at short notice as the MC because Jonathan Boston was sick, and Karen Coots, who did the mihi, and the rest of the team. So stand up and take a bow, people. Who's here? And the people who helped us, Darcy Thompson and Louise Coetzee from Victoria University's Centre for Continuing Education, who can't come today, and Hannah and Fraser, who I've introduced before. These people, Hannah and Fraser in particular, made a huge impact on the number we got there in the social media. So on Monday, before the forum, Wellington had 3 Cs: coffee, craft beer and chocolate. And in fact, 2 of our speakers raised this. And then on Tuesday we took it deeper, and 12 speakers shared their impossible dream for Wellington. The Deputy Prime Minister, who was a real buzz, DK, Sawira Gardner, and these are their visions they put down. And on the table there's a chance for you to fill in your vision for Wellington, and we're keeping on adding to the website and the blogs. So if you've got something to say, put it down and we'll add it on somehow. Tui Te Ho from Te Papa, Wendy McGuinness, futurist, Peter Biggs from Reader, Ludo Campbell-Reid, the design champion at Auckland Council, and you'll have seen the publicity about that. Pinnaman, who ran the African Fashion Festival, Stacey Shortall, founder of Who Did You Help Today, Justin Duckworth, proclaimer of hope, Melissa Clark-Reynolds, who focused on the needs of children, and Grant, who you know, and a huge amount of audience input that we got really well organised. Thank you to Hannah this time. I'm not going to talk about what each person said, but take it from a different direction. We started with 3 Cs on Monday, and we had 9 Cs by the end of the forum. Actually, 3 of our speakers focused on their C words, and all the rest of them just talked about it anyway. So I'm going to pull through some highlights. Courageous action, taking the ideas, doing things, ideas flourishing, collaborating. And a quote, "This is a city of action, the world headquarters of that verb." Caring, socially just, designed for the most vulnerable. People can navigate the city socially, economically, physically. Wellington is safe for children, pedestrians and cyclists. And Grant's comment, Grant's quote, that Wellington is the opposite of loneliness. Conviviality, a city that's people-focused, warm and welcoming. We celebrate the weather. We put an umbrella on the stadium. We have a hairy city with more green infrastructure. And you'll have seen that in the media. Wasn't the media coverage fantastic? Thanks mainly to Roger Blakely and Fraser. And conviviality. We each help someone every day. What a good mantra. Celebrating biculturalism, visible use of Maori culture and language at the airport and around the city. Noting that school children are now culturally competent biculturally, and let's accelerate that change with the older people in the population. And I think somebody's got a good idea, Colleen, about what we might do about that in the club. And then a suggestion that we celebrate the founding of Wellington by Maori, not by the English settlers in 1840. Creativity, asking what's new, not what's new, but what's best. Both having and using creative ideas as one of our features. Curiosity. I didn't know about the interrobang, which is a question mark and an exclamation mark together, a feature of curiosity. And the elite of this century will be those who can unlearn what they know and then learn again. Communicating confidence. Another nice saying, Wellington is the hinge around which New Zealand swings. And we need to be confident but careful, get the money right, but don't stuff up. Capturing public servants. 2 people. The Deputy PM says, use the 20,000 public servants and 2,500 policy people who live in Wellington. Capture their problem-solving ability, their intellects and their social consciences. And Sawira said to ask the State Services Commissioner to lend 10% of his brightest and best and help think about the future of Wellington. So I've already alerted him to this need and said that he should be prepared for it. And I think Richard's got some ideas about how we might build on that. Children, building the Wellington we want for our children in Mokopuna, so they want to live here and work here, and their children want to do the same. Children need whimsy, they need art and nature and safe access all over the city. And we need children involved in designing the future of Wellington. So the next steps tonight as a forum committee we're celebrating. We recommit ourselves to this service to our community. We begin an action agenda for what we do with the ideas that came up. And then we plan for Forum 2018, so see you there.